Welcome to God Winging It with me, Roger Mikael Klang. And I'm strongly emphasizing that it is God who is winging it and not me. I mainly use SR Ekot as a source. US President Donald Trump is considering resuming attacks on Iran, sources tell CNN. The Trump administration is now divided into two camps when it comes to strategy on Iran, according to CNN's sources. Some advocate new attacks, while others want to see continued diplomacy. They probably interpret Trump's whims differently. No kidding. Trump probably doesn't plan ahead more than 15 minutes, if even that. But even if he doesn't plan ahead, he sure does have intent. Intent to harm, intent to dominate, intent to feed his own ego or getting fed. It's just that planning ahead isn't his strong side. God no, it would require effort. But he is the Antichrist, destructive, lethal, evil, constantly lying, deceiving, loudmouth, predatory, criminal, powerful, sexist, racist, misogynist, treacherous, warring, war criminal, child murderer. Tell me what he isn't that is a vice. Donald Trump said regarding Iran, quote, I would say the ceasefire is on massive life support, where the doctor walks in and says, Sir, your loved one has approximately a 1% chance of living. End quote. SR Ekot also says that Trump on Monday, the 18th, with the National Security Council discussed, among other things, the possibility of resuming attacks on Iran, according to information provided to the news site Axios. Meanwhile, SR Ekot reports Saturday, May 16, that according to Lebanon, Israel continues to prevent 200,000 people from returning to around 60 villages that Israel has taken control of in southern Lebanon. And SR Ekot reports that Israel and Lebanon agreed on extending the ceasefire by 45 days to allow for continued negotiations, as they call it. And it was the US State Department which announced the ceasefire. Great news! Now the Trump administration for the next 45 days can lay back and evaluate the situation they have created in Iran. And it fits well with our Trump's visit to China. Why don't we see how this little love kiss war has turned out for us? And let us await a signal from Xi so that we can go behind Xi's back, they seem to think. That signal won't come before these 45 days of relative calm are over, I'm sure. I may not like the CCP or Xi, but I have never made the assumption that the Chinese are stupid, like the businessman Donald Trump apparently does. But I don't think he is aware of that particular sin of his. And in the meantime, they resumed the Cuban issue and a bit of a starter again on the little piece of land called Greenland. He hasn't forgotten. As of the Cuban issue, first we have to look in on recent events concerning Iran. The New York Times reports that they have verified US attacks on 22 schools and 17 healthcare facilities since the war began. The US military says it is only investigating incident, one incident in which the US bombed civilians in Iran. This is the attack on the girls' school in Minab on the first day of the war, in which Iranian authorities say 175 people were killed, among them many children. And of course, this one initial incident was a tragic and unfortunate mistake. Mhm. That way, we don't need any trials for war criminals that doesn't exist. Voila! Let us now jump to US plans to indict former President Raul Castro. The Trump administration and the US Justice Department want to charge former President Raul Castro for murder because he allegedly ordered the downing of a civilian American aircraft back in the days. Now, isn't it convenient that the US never committed any war crimes in Iran? Hmm. The Trump administration has in recent days downplayed threats of a military intervention in Cuba. Well, of course, they probably expect the Cubans to extradite former President Raul Castro to the US. Raul Castro to the US, since Cuba received a nice check for $100 million as a sign of goodwill towards Cuba. It promises to open up the flow of oil to Cuba as long as the Cubans lay down and spread their legs to receive their, you know what, biggest dickus. Soon you'll be mine, my precious Greenland. On Taiwan. In the negotiations between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, China emphasizes cooperation but warns of conflict if the US handles Taiwan in the wrong way, as they say. While Trump has not yet commented on the warning, except following the US visit to China, Trump says in an interview that he has not decided whether to send the arms package he has promised to Taiwan. Quote, if there are increased tensions around that particular issue, then we are on a completely different level when it comes to the relationship between China and the US. End quote. That particular issue is if Taiwan officially declares independence from China. So, the man is not good for his word. What a shocker. I have said all along that as soon as the US gets independent of Taiwanese 2 nanometer semiconductor manufacturing plants, Trump is going to drop Taiwan like a sack of potatoes. It matters not that it is Taiwan that is setting up the manufacturing plants for making 2 nanometer semiconductors in New Mexico, USA. This is going to very soon make the US almighty again. And Taiwan a serf to China. And nobody will ever again trust the USA. At least if they succeed to entomb the little fact of the Taiwanese role in the new Mexican facilities in a ball of lies. Watch the devil's magic hands. China's main concern with Trump's visit to Beijing was to get the US to back down on its support for Taiwan, says Klaus Song, a China analyst at the Berlin based think tank Merix. He says Beijing sees Trump as its best chance to get this done. China's previous threat to strangle rare earth metal exports to the US led to the two countries agreeing to a 1 year pause in their trade war. But fear not, the US allied Australia will surely step up mining and extracting of rare earth metals for making semiconductors. And if it isn't Australia, it surely will be Vietnam and Thailand to a severe cost on environment. Or, yes, if China is benevolent, and they might just be, because it looks like China is going to get to buy American AI chips. Trump wants China's help in opening the Strait of Hormuz. Whether this is going to happen is highly dubious. Putin and Xi. Russian President Vladimir Putin visited China, the Kremlin announced. The visit took place less than a week after US President Donald Trump visited Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two leaders will discuss, or was to discuss, how to further strengthen the quote, comprehensive partnership and strategic cooperation between Moscow and Beijing, the Kremlin said in a statement. Translation: please share the Donald spilled beans with us, Xi. And that's my 2 cents for today. Roger and out.